The road is becoming a battleground. And for some offenders, a simple lane change is leading straight to deportation.
It really is. It's this collision of two completely different worlds. Traffic safety and border enforcement. And the rules are changing fast.
Welcome back to the Deep Dive. It is Thursday, January 29, 2026. And I have to be honest, my commute this morning was a nightmare. I'm driving in, and this guy, he just cuts across 3 lanes of traffic, no blinker.
Oh, of course, no blinker.
0. And he cuts me off, and for just a split second, I felt that, that heat rise up in my chest. You know that feeling.
Oh, absolutely. The how dare you reflex, it's primal.
Exactly. And for most of us, it's momentary. You hit the brakes, maybe mutter something under your breath, and you move on. But for a growing number of people, that moment, it just doesn't end there. It escalates.
Yeah.
And what we're seeing now is that for a specific group of drivers, that split-second decision is leading to a one-way flight out of the country.
And that's really the core of it. We're looking at this massive collision of two worlds that usually run parallel traffic laws and high-stakes immigration enforcement. And if you look at the news from today, those worlds just crashed right into each other in Minneapolis.
So let's get right into the news hook, because this is developing as we speak. White House border czar Tom Homan held a press conference this morning. And honestly, the location was the first thing that jumped out at me. Minneapolis.
Yeah, it's not the first place you'd expect a Trump administration official to hold a press conference, right? I mean, historically, the relationship between federal immigration and Minnesota leadership like Governor Walz and AG Keith Ellison has been, let's just call it, frosty.
Frosty's putting it mildly. You've got prominent Democrats in the administration's top enforcement guy. Usually that's a recipe for conflict.
Right. But today, the tone was completely different. Homan announced a cooperation deal. And this is the part that signals a major, major shift. The deal is that Minnesota leaders are now actively working with the administration to ensure that criminals booked in county jails, they aren't just released on bail if they're undocumented.
They're transferred directly to ICE.
Directly to ICE. It's a sealed pipeline from the local jail to federal custody. And Homan was very, very specific about the target, wasn't he?
Oh, he was. He used very deliberate, very intense language. Illegal alien killers, rapists, and gang members. But, and this is the key for our deep dive today, he also expanded that definition of public safety threat to include something that affects all of us: violent road rage.
And this isn't happening in a vacuum. I mean, if you've been scrolling the news lately, you've seen the reports, Texas, Virginia, Florida, it feels like every other day there's a new story, a traffic dispute that turns into a shooting.
Right, involving an undocumented migrant.
It's becoming a pattern, and the data backs it up. So our mission today is to connect these dots. We're going to look at the psychology of why we snap behind the wheel, the crazy stats on road rage, and how the administration is essentially using traffic laws as a filter for deportation.
Okay, so before we get into those, the legal we's and the deportation side, let's talk about the driving itself, because I think there's a gray area here. Is honking at someone road rage? Is speeding road rage? Where do you draw the line between just being a bad driver and being a criminal?
It's a great question, and it's one that researchers have actually defined very carefully. The AAA Foundation for Traffic Safety put out a report back in September 2025. It's kind of the Bible on this. They draw a really hard line between aggressive driving and road rage.
Okay, break that down for me, because I feel like I see aggressive driving every 10 seconds on my commute.
So aggressive driving it's deliberate, it's unsafe. But the motivation is mostly selfish. It's about efficiency. Think about the guy weaving through traffic at 90 miles an hour.
The guy who thinks he's in a video game.
Exactly. He's tailgating because he wants you to move. He's cutting you off to get to his exit. He's a jerk, sure. He's endangering people. But his goal isn't to hurt you, specifically. His goal is just to save time.
Right. Selfish, but not malicious?
Correct. Road rage, or what some people are now calling violent driving, is totally different. This is where the intent shifts from saving time to causing harm.
Ah, so this is the I'm going to teach you a lesson territory.
Yes. It involves a physical threat. It's using the vehicle as a weapon, trying to run someone off the road, brake checking them, or, actually pulling out a weapon. It's a criminal act of violence that just happens to be on a highway.
And the scary part is how common the precursor behavior is. I was looking at those AAA numbers. 96%.
It is staggering. 96% of drivers admitted to at least one aggressive behavior in the past year. That means basically everyone listening to this right now has probably done something that falls into that category.
I'm guilty. I've definitely tailgated when I was running late. Not proud of it, but yeah.
We all have. But here's the terrifying pivot. While aggressive driving is common, the jump to lethal violence is spiking. Everytown research flagged 2021 as a huge turning point, one of the deadliest years on record.
Wow.
We got to a point where a person was being shot or killed in a roadway incident every 17 hours.
Every 17 hours, that's not a rare thing anymore. That's a daily rhythm of violence.
And there's a psychological accelerant here. It's called the weapons effect.
The weapons effect, is that a literal term?
It is. It's a real psychological phenomenon where just the presence of a weapon, just seeing a gun on the passenger seat actually increases aggressive thoughts and behaviors.
Wait, so just having it there makes you angrier?
It's like having a nuclear option right there. It changes your risk calculation. You know, when you don't have a weapon, you might just honk and yell. When you have the power to end a life sitting next to you, your brain is weirdly more willing to escalate. It turns a traffic dispute into a standoff.
So we have the psychology, we have the weapons. Now let's layer in the immigration aspect. Because this is where these new policies are really biting hard. You mentioned Dallas earlier. That video was just, it was everywhere.
The New Year's incident, it's hard to watch. On the Margaret McDermott Bridge, a major artery in Dallas, and you have these suspects, Anthony Acevedo and Jose Alarcon Sanchez, just firing guns off the bridge.
It wasn't even a specific fight, right? It just looked like total chaos.
Complete disregard for human life. And normally, you know, in the past, these guys get arrested, maybe they get a bond set, and then they disappear before trial.
Right, the revolving door that Homan is always talking about.
Exactly. But look what happened this time. They were slapped with immigration detainers immediately. They are not going anywhere. The federal government said, we are taking custody of these individuals.
But it's not just big cities like Dallas.
Yeah.
Look at Loudoun County, Virginia. That's a wealthy suburban area, not where you expect gunfights.
No, and that's why it shook that community so hard. You had two men, Aldo Rivera and Jimmy Madrid, arrested after shooting into another car in a residential neighborhood.
A residential neighborhood, so stray bullets flying past front porches.
Exactly. And the reaction from Sheriff Mike Chapman was immediate. He confirmed both men were undocumented, and he stated very clearly they're being held without bond.
That without bond piece is crucial.
It is. Sheriff Chapman explicitly said he is going to press for greater immigration enforcement. He's drawing a hard line. He's saying, if you bring this kind of violence here, you forfeit your right to be here.
But the one that really caught my eye was the Florida case on I-4.
Ah, the Wilton Vargas Jr. case.
Yeah.
This one's fascinating from a legal standpoint because it highlights a specific mechanism in the law that most people just don't know about.
So set the scene. Typical I-4 traffic nightmare.
Classic Florida traffic. Hot, crowded, everyone's frustrated. An argument starts. Vargas pulls out a pink and black handgun and points it at another driver. Now, thankfully he didn't fire. But in Florida, just pointing a gun is a third-degree felony.
Okay, so normally what does that get you? Probation? Maybe a year.
For a U.S. citizen with a clean record, a good lawyer could probably argue for probation. The law says the sentence is up to 5 years, but up to is the magic phrase. It gives the judge a lot of discretion.
It's a ceiling, not a floor.
Precisely.
Yeah.
But Florida has a specific provision. If you are an illegal alien, and that's the statutory language, and you're convicted of having a firearm, that 5-year sentence isn't a maximum anymore. It becomes a mandatory minimum.
Whoa, wait, let me get this straight. No wiggle room.
0. The judge has no leniency. If you are undocumented and you point a gun in traffic, you are serving 5 years day for day before ICE even touches you for deportation.
That is a massive distinction. So two people commit the exact same crime in the same place, one citizen, one not, and the citizen might go home while the non-citizen goes away for half a decade.
And then gets deported. That's the public safety threat designation in action. It's a zero-tolerance filter. The argument from the state is that by being there illegally and possessing a firearm, you've compounded the crime to a level that demands incapacitation.
And it seems like voters are getting involved, too. It's not just federal policy. Look at what's happening in Colorado.
Colorado Initiative 95. This is a fascinating shift, especially for a state that has historically had, sanctuary-style policies.
So what does the initiative actually do?
It would mandate legally force police and prosecutors to alert the Department of Homeland Security within 72 hours if they charge someone with a violent crime and their immigration status is questionable.
So no more looking the other way? No more don't ask, don't tell?
No more. If voters pass this, it's a huge move away from sanctuary policies. It sends a message that public safety outweighs protecting someone's immigration status.
It really feels like the patience for this kind of violence has just evaporated. People are tired of feeling unsafe.
Completely. And I think it connects back to why people act this way in the first place. The psychology of it. Why do we snap behind the wheel? Why do we turn into different people when that car door closes?
That's the big question. Why do we feel so bold inside these metal boxes?
It's the sanctuary of the car.
The sanctuary of the car.
Yeah. Think about it. Being inside that box gives you anonymity. You feel detached from the humanity of the other drivers. You don't see a father or a mother in the other car. You just see a red sedan that cut you off. It makes it psychologically so much easier to act out.
That makes sense. I mean, if someone bumps into me on a crowded sidewalk, I say, "Oh, sorry." I don't scream at them.
Right. You don't threaten someone in the grocery store because they have 12 items in the 10-item lane. But in the car, we're insulated. You're in your own living room. The music's on. The temperature's perfect. The other drivers are just obstacles.
And then you add that educating motivation that AAA talked about. This is the one that really gets me.
The school teacher complex.
Yeah, the idea that I need to teach this guy a lesson.
It's all about control. Retaliatory aggression. You cut me off. I'm going to brake check you to show you who's boss. I'm going to enforce the rules myself.
It's basically vigilante justice.
It is. A lot of drivers claim they drive aggressively out of anxiety or fear. They feel like the road is chaotic, so they try to claim control. But that just backfires when everyone is trying to do it.
Is there any good news here? Is there anything that actually stops people from raging out?
There is one major protective factor. Manners.
Manners.
Yeah.
Seriously, we're relying on manners.
I know, it sounds so quaint. But simple road etiquette is the biggest shield. Drivers who value politeness are just significantly less likely to escalate a situation. A simple wave to let someone in can change the whole dynamic.
It's amazing that thank you might be the difference between a friendly wave and a gunshot.
It really is. But when that social contract breaks down, and you add the car's anonymity, plus a weapon, plus the legal status issues, you get the violence we're seeing now.
So let's bring it all back together. What's the bottom line for the listener?
We are seeing a collision of two major issues. On one hand, a documented rise in vehicular violence. People are angrier and more armed on the roads. On the other hand, a rigid tightening of immigration enforcement under these 2026 policies.
So the stakes are completely different depending on who is behind the wheel.
Exactly. For a U.S. citizen, road rage is a felony. It's serious. You'll go to prison. But for a non-citizen, under these new policies, it is a one-way ticket out of the country.
And the definitions are expanding.
Yes. Public safety threat covers a lot more ground now. And with deals like the one in Minnesota and laws like in Florida, the tolerance for this kind of violence is hitting absolute zero. The system is being wired to catch these specific offenders and remove them.
It's a sobering reality. I mean, if the car was once the ultimate shield of anonymity, these new laws are just stripping that armor away.
Absolutely. You are not anonymous anymore. The cameras, the license plate readers, and now the federal attention, it's all focused on the road.
I want to leave you with this thought today. We all get angry, we all get cut off, but next time you feel that urge to teach another driver a lesson, ask yourself, is this lane change worth your freedom?
That is the question.
Thanks for joining us on The Deep Dive. Drive safe out there.
Stay safe.